What's going on, everyone? Thank you for tuning in. We got a pretty cool show tonight. I got my Patreons from patreon.com, whatever you want to call it. These are my supporters. Not all of them, but we had a few that couldn't make it tonight, which is totally fine. So hopefully you guys can tune in. I want you to meet these guys. You see them on other podcasts, you hear about them, and these guys are the foundation of the community. So without further ado, let's bring them in. First, we got El Fuego, and then we got Dave. What's going on, gentlemen? Thank you for joining me tonight. I think this is pretty cool. This is my first Patreon podcast, and here you guys are. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us, Andy. Fantastic job on everything you do with your channel, and just pleased to be part of the community and contribute however I can.
Thank you, man.
I'll second that. What's up, El Fuego? Hello.
Hey.
Andy,
I know.
Good evening.
Good evening, man. We got you sounding good. I mean, that's kind of what we do here. You know, we got to make things sound good. Got your audio all hooked up. Video looks good.
I can do everything except computers, man. Anything else,
yeah.
just not computers, man.
It's tough, you know what I mean? I kind of had to learn about computers and cameras and all this other stuff just to do this. And it's been a very stressful process. But now that everything's working, it made it worth it, just like a lot of things.
And now that you figured it out, I get to bug you a little bit more on Facebook.
Exactly.
You hit me up on Messenger like, "Hey, buddy, let's do a fake yard stream or whatever, and let's figure this thing out." Man,
absolutely, man. Yeah, we still got to get to the bottom of it. There's a problem, but we put a Band-Aid on it for sure.
Yeah, little Band-Aid. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, I figured I'd just bring you guys on and just talk about how you guys got into car audio. What do you guys do for the community? And just answer some of the questions that, the normal guys always chat, stuff like that. So,
El Fuego, you first.
Yeah, El Fuego, how did you get into car audio and when?
All right. So I'm an old timer, so pushing 50. So my story starts in 1987.
Woo!
So at the time I was in 8th grade, and Beastie Boys had just dropped the License to Ill album, and Run DMC came out with an album, and so I'm 14 years old. 3 of my buddies, and mind you, we just got done with the 8th grade talent show, doing a cover of "Fight for Your Right to Party," which wasn't what we said we were going to do, but we did it anyways, right? So we were all set for a concert. And somehow we convinced our parents that it'd be a good idea for us to go to the Run DMC Beastie Boys Together Forever concert in downtown Seattle, the Paramount Theater. And so a buddy of mine, his mom took us down there, dropped 3 14-year-olds off in the middle of the city, and I'll never forget it. I heard this bass that I never heard before. And I honestly thought that the concert had already started. But there was a Rockford Fosgate demo vehicle out front. You want to talk about a marketing play, right? If you're a stereo shop, you're rolling that thing over, right, in front of the concert. Deviant made it. I like it.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm listening to your story, but Deviant popped in? I mean, Beardy popped in.
Beardy popped in, not Deviant.
Thanks for tuning in, man. Appreciate it. Keep going, El Fuego.
So I roll up on this. I had no idea that kind of sound could come from a car, and it was just unbelievable. And from that moment on, I was somehow, some way, I'm gonna have something like that one of these days. And that's where my journey to car audio started. It was that simple. And then of course I went into the concert, and I heard sound louder than I'd ever heard in my life, and it was like 2 weeks later, I rode my bicycle up to a Radio Shack and bought a 4-channel mixer and a microphone, and started the home audio journey, until I could get my license. That's how I got into car audio.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like a lot of us do start in a home audio because we start young. We ain't driving when we're 10, 12, you know what I mean? And home audio is the way to go, and then you want bigger and better things, and then you get your license, and it's like, well, I could put this in my car. We've all done that. At least I have. Throwing the big shelf speakers or floor speakers in the back of your car and just tapping them into the 6x9s and just you got that bass. I mean, it works. You know what I mean? That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
How about you, Dave? When did you get into car audio, and what made you get into this? Really?
I was always into loud music. I was blessed with a mother who loved loud music, so didn't complain too much. But she was the type of mom who would have Phantom of the Opera blaring while cleaning the house. Like, it was definitely not NWA, no Run DMC, no Beastie Boys. It was like the classics, and
yeah,
it was all house stuff, like you just said, man. We weren't driving. So it was just a lot of whatever I could collect and make loud in the house. I was more of a person who tore stuff apart to see how it worked. And I had a uncle and a grandfather who were big into they'd work on their own cars, straight up mechanics, like build engines. And I kind of dove into that easily because it's a hands-on mechanical, fix it, how does it work, cams, push rods, lifters, all that stuff. And the first time I got away from the stuff that I had going on in the house and started playing with the car and put together a awesome car, Chevy 350, 350 turbo trans, 373 rear end, and this is an old classic Chevy with this dried out rotted 6x9 or whatever they came stock with, one in the dash, one in the rear, and that was it. You couldn't hear the thing over the exhaust. Well, I was in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and summertimes when you want to get out to Grand Haven, you got a 45-minute drive. And with all of those aspects of 373s and three-speed trannies, you're doing 65 miles an hour at 3,800 RPM, and this thing is just echoing in your ear. So you need something to break up the monotony of that noise for 45 minutes. Because stoplight, it's great. When the tires are burning and you're tearing somebody up in town, it's great because it's 4 seconds. Boom, done. When you get on the highway, you need something to break all that noise up because all you hear is so that's when I brought the house into the car and was like, hey, I can make a lot of this noise kind of break up a little bit.
Yeah.
And I started throwing amps and stuff. I did the house speakers in the car once or twice. I played around with some the little boom boxes with the detachable side speakers.
Oh yeah,
on the back
absolutely.
Once or twice, and so that's what brought the audio love, loud music, into the car with me. And then simply because I was always competing with a very loud engine, boom, I had to get real loud music.
Right, and that's funny
audio.
You mentioned that. That's crazy, but it makes sense. And I'm the same way. And I remember whenever I first got into car audio, I remember people saying, you either go all music or you go all race car. There's no sense of, having this muscle car with this whatever and then trying to douse it out with a stereo. And it's like, there's a happy medium that can be filled. You can have the best of both worlds. Yeah, you might not be, a 10-second car.
I might not agree with how happy it is, but
right,
one way away, you can't mesh them together. One way or another, you can mesh them together, and that's how it worked for me. That's what brought me into it. It was like I had to get some loud music in the car because, like I said, that stoplight to stoplight was fun. The RPMs only shoot up for a couple, boom, 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 go through the gears, boom, idle through town. Rest of the time, you go out to the lake, though. You got to get there in a reasonable amount of time. So, yeah, you needed something to break that noise up. So, yeah, it was bring that house, pop that thing right in the car, and then you start figuring out how to make it happen. Car audio, amps,
just making it louder.
Yep. It was
William,
like that old Mickey Shore commercial. I literally was the person who laughed at that when they were talking. They did this weird little commercial where it was, oh yeah, my car muffler broke, whatever. So I brought my car to Mickey Shore, and they threw a 12-inch blah blah amp and whatever. Now I can't hear my exhaust. I was the person who laughed at that because it made sense to me.
Right. It's like in the beginning, maybe not so much. Now it makes sense,
Yeah. Well, I was laughing at it. That one definitely had me laughing. But yeah, that's what brought me into car audio, and it was Rockford Fallsgate. Back then, always Rockford Fallsgate and Kicker. Seriously, I had my SoundStream Love. I had the Orions and all those. Like, you have these little pinnacle things that were like whatever, but Rockford and Kicker were the ones that were like just out of grasp. And now that I'm older and make more money, give them all.
Yeah.
Send them my way, buddy.
A little bit easier now,
Yeah.
and it's like, well.
And then I'm buying all the old ones too, so.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I know, it's crazy how it's like almost like, not per se, but almost one thing that really gets you into car audio. And it's crazy how it just takes that one thing and then it turns into this good addiction. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's crazy, it's like sometimes it's like, yeah, just get into something. And car audio is a great thing because you could be spending your money elsewhere and maybe it's not the greatest addiction. You know what I mean? Instead of going out to the bar, why don't you save a couple trips out and then let's go get you a nice system and then you can go and enjoy that.
Car audio is definitely a good one, man. You can it's versatile. You can go different directions with it. You can play with it. It's so pliable as far as who you are, and that's the number one thing, man. Whoever you are, as your ears are, who you are, you're the one who makes the money. You're the one who's spending your money on it. So make it work for you. Do what you want to do for you. I mean, you're not pulling in your driveway having a judge. I mean, unless you're married, but
yeah,
just turn it down before you pull up.
Andy, when I was a kid, I was worried that my dad wasn't going to support my newfound hobby. But what my dad liked about it was he was a mechanic, very mechanically inclined working on cars. He was also a good woodworker. And he also knew that if I had an expensive hobby, it would teach me the work ethic that I needed to earn the money to afford that. And he never told me about any of those lessons at the time. It was all stuff that I kind of figured out. So my dad would be out there helping me build boxes and teaching me about this, working on the car, getting everything fit in. And, it was like 20 years later, I figured out, okay, Dad was teaching me a lesson, let me enjoy a hobby. But also it took money, right, to fuel that.
Right. You're right on that because it's like, you have to save your money for it because you are passionate about it and it makes you spend money on that and maybe not something else or blow your money on something being stupid or whatever. And absolutely, it's almost like your dad was teaching you a lesson without even saying anything, and that's pretty cool. You never think of it that way, but that is
immerse a person in something. Just go ahead. I support you. Keep going with it. And then the more you have a love for it, the more you have to just keep driving for it. And me, it was the same thing with cars and stuff, building engines and then doing the car audio thing too. Like, you find that love for it, go ahead. Do that because it can be so much worse. There's so many opportunities to mess up in way different ways. The worst thing you do is end up with a closet full of amplifiers and speakers. Well, you did good, kid.
I'm there.
It seems like the less times I was going to the bar, the louder I was getting. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I don't go to the bar anymore. Absolutely, man.
Can't afford no bars.
No. I don't. Now it's just no time and no money. But yes. I can't. Absolutely. So, I mean, we're already almost 20 minutes in. I got some pictures that El Fuego sent me. Dave, I'm sorry. He just sent me these literally an hour ago. If you got any, send me some. I'll try to throw them up here. But some pictures of his build, his current build, and his past builds, and something special. So, what do you want to show him first, El Fuego? Your current build or from the past?
We can just run through quickly the old past builds. People ask me, what my history is with that, and I can run through it real quick. I don't want to spend too much time.
Awesome. All right, yeah. First up here, we got.
So the first one, the picture's missing, but it was a '64 Ford Fairlane 4-door that was basically a hoopty. I got this thing handed down to me from my grandfather. I just got my license, saved up $200, went to the swap meet, bought a Chinese knockoff of the box that rocks, you know, and a Majestic amp, stuck that thing in the back, and we rolled.
Andrew, that's the amp I was talking about in that other show. That Majestic right there.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
That is the one. That's the one.
That thing did 50 watts on a good day, probably.
That's all you needed, though. I feel like everyone at least had a pair of. I have something similar to that.
They were
What
huge. They looked
What
big.
I liked about this knockoff box that rocks, it had a handle on top, right? So if I wanted to use it in the house or at some party, you know, I could just take it with me. So that was the first one. The more
Absolutely.
interesting one is probably this. This was my first where I really got into bass. So I traded the old car for a 71 Chevelle, and it was the exact same color. This is when I got M&M Godfather 15 Autotech amp, all this stuff. And at the time, I had a buddy of mine whose dad owned a Ford dealership. So anytime a car would come in, if there was a piece of stereo equipment in there, we would go peel it out and replace it with something else if we wanted it. So I got a Super Tuner 3, and we put this in. Now, cleaning out my house, I found the one and only picture on the next slide that I have of the system in there. I found this 2 days ago. So off to the right, this is looking in the back seat. So there you can see my M&M Godfather 15 sitting on the back seat, 3.5 cube sealed. I had, if you look at it, I had screws like every 2.5 inches on this thing. Pull it through.
It's gotta be tight.
You know, and all that. Look at I had the head unit hooked up to 6x9s in a box behind the rear seat, and the amp is barely mounted to a piece of old scrap.
I like how you had those below the sub. Staging is everything.
That helps with the amp rise, you know. So.
Well, this car had like a bench seat in the front, and that was for me and the girlfriend. Everything else had to go in the back. I wasn't too worried about staging, you know, at that point in time.
Absolutely, man. Right. We were just all getting into it. I mean, for you, I was just born, so. But that's awesome, man.
You were worried about staging just like everyone else was. Put that sub where everyone could see it.
Exactly.
So this is the car that I ruined the trunk lid on. We used an expander foam. I originally had the sub in the trunk, and I put expander foam in there to stop the rattling. And
wow.
Yeah. So that was that. I built a competition car in it was an 84 Camaro. And I couldn't afford the gas because I was commuting, couldn't afford the gas in the Chevelle, so I got rid of it, bought a Camaro, and built a competition system. 0 to 50 watt class was what I was going for with the 225 HDCA. Paying somewhere in the $500, $525 range for the amp. At MB Quartz, front, back. And a couple of XTR 8s and an Opcon bandpass box that fit down in the rear well. And it had 10-disc changer, all that Sony stuff. It sounded really good. Unfortunately, I didn't make the competition scene in the summer of '92. And in January of '93, I totaled the car.
Damn.
Never made it to a competition one, so I had to sell all the gear.
Wow. I really like that model of the Camaros too, man. I know they weren't, quote, the fastest and everything, but I like the body style. I really like the body style.
I love the F-body. I'm an F-body. I'm a fanboy of the F-body. Man, I've had me a couple Camaros. I probably had 8 Camaros, 6 Camaros, easy. That were fun cars to drive. They're like go-karts.
Oh, what's this one here? Pickup truck.
Chevy Love. I had a lowrider Chevy Love pickup. So this was like after I totaled my car, I sold all my gear to fund the buy of I had a 79 Chevy Love. And all I could squeeze, it had like bucket seats out of a Datsun that somebody installed with rails. The only thing I could fit back in there was a pair of Rockford Fosgate Series 110s. And so that's what I put back there. I had some Sony, coax and run off Autotech amp again. But it sounded pretty good. drove it for years.
Yeah, that's hard getting a lot of, not sound, but just woofers in a tiny space. So like you said, you had those 210s, but I mean, that's pretty loud in a standard cab. I have a standard cab, and I think it was, it was just a 10 in a sealed box on like 300 watts, and it was enough. You know what I mean? So that's awesome, man. And that was back in 93 you had that. So you've been, serious with this for a long time, man. That's awesome. I know a lot of us are. But since you're here, you're showing it.
Yeah, there were no thin woofers back then, so you kind of had to make the angle of the box so that the magnet, would fit, And,
yeah. Wait, they didn't have shallow mounts in 1990? Come on. That's crazy.
I did the best I could.
That's awesome, man. Oh, what's this? It looks like a Honda?
That's a 84 Honda Accord. So that's the El Fuego car. That's the one that burned up.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so this one, what I did was went back to, had a little bit more money, went back to MB Court, and I took the two that Rockford Series 1s that I had, added two more. And Rockford helped me design an isobaric bandpass box.
Oh, nice.
That I put in the trunk, and I ran all four subs. They were 8-ohm subs. Wired down to 2 ohms off an Autotech 9050, and then ran the MB Quartz off the Autotech 7050. So the next picture is actually another newly recovered photo.
Oh, look at that!
That is that's El Fuego circa 30 years ago, actually.
Andy bailed on us.
What happened to him?
He saw an amp rack and he was out.
This mouse, I don't like it. It has a page back and forward. Is everyone here? Are we here?
Oh, so I'm here.
Okay, we're still live. Uh-oh. Yeah, uh-oh.
Are you here, Andy?
This mouse has too many buttons on it, and I moved it, and I pressed the back. So at least we're still live. Thank God. Let me get that back up there. Oh, my goodness. Sorry about that, guys. At least we didn't lose the entire stream. Okay, here we go. That could have been bad. It's not rookie hour. It's a brand new mouse. Come on, man. All right. Sorry about that. Restart.
Yeah, so that's me circa about 30 years ago, holding up my amp rack for that car.
That's awesome.
The Autotech amps and all that. Back in the day, I didn't even own a camera of my own until 90, I think it was like 95, 96. So, and there was no cell phone to snap pictures. Literally, the only two pictures I have of car audio builds are the couple that are here. So
wow, I know that I feel the same. It's I have like one on a a photo, and I have it saved on my phone, but I only had the Doles, and there's so many other systems that I had that I just didn't have photos of. And then there was a lot that I took, but they were on those flip phones. God forbid, I have no idea where half of those went. I know there's some good photos somewhere, and it's just like, darn. But it happens. Let's see here. Let me pull up one more, and then we're going to get to Dave's systems. I don't have any pictures, but we're going to talk about it.
I have no pictures whatsoever. I never snap pictures.
Oh, no.
Like, seriously, recently, like you were saying, the phones, they just disappear. And, I mean, I got a few pictures of stuff that I'm collecting right now, but as far as past builds, none. None whatsoever. All gone.
Right.
All gone to history. And memories.
Hey, maybe one day they'll be able to just, put a little chip here and download everything, and then we'll get to see it all, Hopefully not too soon. Yeah, right.
I'll pass on that one. Yeah, I don't
so we
need
got
to see it that
Fuegos. Literally. Hey, you never know, man. That's a scary
thing.
There's
a few images in there, though.
Uh-oh. Maybe they'll have like a little filter on it. You can just blur it out or something.
I need a filter on my chip, please.
All right, so is this a 4Runner Toyota?
Yeah, so that's my current weekend driver is what I call it. My daily driver is a work vehicle, but this is a 2016 4Runner total base model SR5. just wanted to show the outside.
Absolutely, man. It's a nice car. And then,
So this is where I went ape nuts crazy and went with the old school Autotech amps from Z Audio. And so I literally scoured the planet for these things and bought some out of a guy. Old Indy is his eBay name. He's out of Indonesia.
Oh, wow.
So I scoured the planet, found the ones I wanted, and got them in. So you're looking at the bigger ones on the right are 7300, so they're 600 watts RMS bridged. And then the two on the left are 4x50. They're the 7204s. And you talk about buying stuff. I was looking primarily for cosmetics, something that was in very good cosmetic shape. The innards I could really care less about.
yeah.
The what appears to be amplifiers in between are Autotech 7050 amps that I did the cardinal sin. I completely gutted them to use them as amp legs. So I still have the guts. I sent all 4 amps back to Z Audio, and Stephen Mans did a complete restoration on them, soup to nuts. So
That's awesome, man. I mean, they look like they're in pristine condition. I just love how amplifiers were designed back then, where it's just, it's like you had to buy the set to make it complete. And then, I mean, you didn't need to, but you wanted to. And it's like amplifiers today, like they don't really do that. It's more for price per watt or quality or whatever. Yeah. And it's just an individual product. It's funny how times have changed. I think if an amplifier company maybe came out with something like that as a special product, that'd be cool. Maybe even Down for Sound, since they're kind of making those retro throwback looking amplifiers. Maybe something that would go along with that. I don't know. I just feel like that looks awesome. Same thing with like the kicker, the amps that you got, Dave. Like how it's just like they're meant to be put together.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The old school ones definitely had that, especially with the ones that came with the links and stuff like that. It was almost like, you wanted a combo set. You wanted to make that thing look like a surfboard, even if it wasn't a surfboard amp.
Yeah.
You grab 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, look how big that thing is.
I can catch a wave with this. So yeah, definitely. Exactly. Back in the day, they definitely made you want to get a couple of them and run them together. And I mean, that looks. I like that look right there.
Heck yeah!
It's those old school amps, man. They just look good together.
They do. I had to hijack the dining room table from my wife, and you can see I made a cardboard cutout right of the floor in the back of the Forerunner. So that's cardboard cutout. And originally I wanted the subs to go up where my T-square is, up above the subs. And then you can just click to the next one. And this is what we ended up with.
Ooh.
Yes.
So, it gets better. It gets better.
So the subs, I couldn't come up with old school subs that were thin enough. And so my Forerunner came with 3rd row seats. And so what I did is I went in there and tore out the 3rd row seats, and I came up with about really usable space, 6-7 inches, right?
That's not much to work with, but enough.
And so full disclosure, I designed everything. I bought all the equipment, all that. I did not build this myself. My woodworking skills, finish skills are not nearly capable, but fortunately in my area we've got a shop, Bosscar Audio, that's been in business since the late 80s. They have a master installer. I'll give him a shout out. Sylvie is his name. He's consistently on the top 25 installers in the U.S.
It's beautiful, man. It really is. It looks like something that you would see at CES or Slamology or just any kind of car show. You know what I mean? That's beautiful. And then that's in your Forerunner. That's your daily, right?
That's my weekend. So my daily is my work truck.
Weekend daily. On
the weekend daily, yeah. So this was more of an SQ build. So I put in the DM810 and Spark Innovations RBX4, so I could turn off the subs if I want. I could turn off the rear speakers if I want. And then the next picture shows what it looks like at night.
Oh, LEDs, you gotta have them.
Yeah,
Gotta have them.
which is, if you've ever seen my profile pic, this is part of the profile pic.
Oh, you know what? You're right. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
That's from my system. The only thing I've done to it since is just put grills over the.
I'll be right back.
Those are JL Audio 10 TW3s. So I put some grills over those so they don't get damaged.
Right, dude. I mean, that's Class A system, man. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's not going to be floating hair or nothing, but it's going to be sounding good and looking good, and it's going to be as close as that old school sound. You know, you got the old school amplifiers and the look of it, and yeah, they're not old school subs, but I mean, JLW3, they're very efficient drivers, and they're not going to need a ton of power to get loud and sound good at the same time. Are those? They're not shallow mount. What are those JL, or are they shallow mounts?
They're shallow mount. The 10 TW3 is their shallow mount model.
Okay, so like 200 RMS 10s or something like that, or?
No, they'll take, they say, I think they recommend like 350, 400, but I'm putting, 600. But I'm controlling what I'm doing, right?
Right.
They're small sealed boxes, so you get some box rise.
Right, you can add a little bit of power to them. It won't sound too bad. They'll be all right. That's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
And then all the doors are MB Court, old school MB Court QM series from the early 90s.
I like MB Court. I've had, it had been 10, 12 years ago. I had a MB Court 12. It was kind of a hand-me-down subwoofer I got off somebody, and I wound up pawning it. And it was funny. It's a funny story with that. They're like, I'm like pawning it, and they're like looking at my Solo X. They're like, why don't you pawn that? I'm like, no, I am not pawning that. I'm pawning this. But I liked it. It was like I'm trying to think of what it compared to, like a JBL. Is it JBL? They make woofers, right? Like those 5,000 watt ones or something. Like they're like $99. It reminded me something like that, but the sound quality wasn't bad. But this was back in the day that, I really wasn't looking for sound quality. I was looking for something that was the loudest. You know what I mean?
The fundamental problem with old school MB Court tweeters, they'll bite you like a velociraptor. If you don't have a way to kind of, get them down. So that's where the DM810 came in to really help that. Otherwise, they're just so bright and annoying and problematic.
How about you, Dave? What's your system? What do you got in a daily build or your house? What do you got? I know you got a couple things behind you, some Serwin Vega stuff. What do you got?
Well, I'm literally just kind of doing a bunch of collecting, kind of setting some stuff aside. Really, it's been just planning one actual build. Like, when people say build, no, I'm talking about this is an actual build. This is gut the inside of the car and reform the inside of the car around the audio that I'm going to put into it. And that is the all Fosgate power build, which is going to the 12s are switching up, I believe. Talking to Big D about a couple 12s that are available that just so happen to match a couple Power 10s that I just picked up. I do currently have 4 RFR 1812s, 2 T502s, and 2 T804s, which are going to be the source of the power in this whole thing. Came across an old, man, I can't even think of the model number now. But it's a Rocket Fosgate DVD flip face DVD player as a head unit. DVD RT2 something. Oh, it's like right up there. I can tell you the number. But anyways, RAB DVD2 is what it is. Anyways, so I picked up one of those, and it's fully functional. Everything. Nice. So I'm going to use that as the head unit. It might not last long because it's pretty old and they weren't known to last very long. But I'm going to throw it in there because it says Rock from Fosgate.
Right, you
But,
got to have it matching if you can. If I could get a kicker head unit that was for a car, I would do it. I might do it even with Marine. Who knows?
Even if
we'll
you
see.
know you're going to swap it out in a week or two once the face stops folding up or something, I'm going to run it just because it's Fosgate. And then I've got some PWR 6.4s, PWR 5.4s, some 4s.
So this is gonna, now when you say you have 10s and 12s, is that for your mid-range and base, or is that just you're gonna have?
Are going to be, obviously 12's going to just be on the lower end. I'm going to run the 10s in that more of the mid-base range. I might even run them sealed. I don't know. The 12s, I'm all about ported. I love my ported boxes when it comes to my lows, but those 10s, I might run those in a sealed box and put them in an upper range where it's more of a crisper, snappier hitting range. And then I got a bunch of these freaking power mid components, man. It's just going to be a bunch of speakers getting loud.
Sounds like it. It really does.
Loud. And then I'm going to run all 4 of the amps on a audio control DM812 or DM810 and play around with that as far as control and everything, and just see how good I can make some old speakers sound, really.
Wow.
Some old amps. Just play with it, man. I just want to, it's just a toy, really. And it's a bunch of stuff. That's my thing right now. As far as the past, man, I've had so many different things that I've thrown in cars. So many different, it's like a revolving door. Car audio is a revolving door. Once you start playing with it, man, you always want to get a little bit louder. You always want to get more, and then you somehow you get a little older and you're like, oh no, let's tone it down. Let's make more space in the back of the car. But you always got to have something back there, and then
100%.
You just do your thing. You just kind of evolve back and forth, and that's where I've kind of jumped back into the house now once again, and I'm just playing around with. I play around with audio wherever I can fit it in, and I'm married, so in the house you really gotta.
You gotta keep down the dBs, huh?
Now, like in the house, it's like one subwoofer in the corner, some Klipsch quintets, like strategically placed out of the way, and just try to make it, get some sound when you're watching a movie. But
I think if I didn't have little ones, I can't. Yeah, you got to keep it out of reach. But that's why I was going to say, like, if I didn't have little ones, I'd probably have a speaker, subwoofer, something in every room. But it's like you got to keep them from those little hands. They like the soft, little the domes and just poking and playing with speakers, man.
Yeah, I know that, man. Like I said, God bless my mother, because I'm surprised I'm still alive. Because I wasn't the kid who pushed the dome in.
Yeah,
I would cut the dust cover out to see what's behind it. I wanted to see how everything works. Like she would buy me Christmas presents, birthday presents. I would, like, literally, I think if I could go back then, I think I was seriously thinking, is 3 days long enough of playing with this thing before I pull out the Phillips screwdriver or the pliers and see where the wires run, see where the motor, are there gears in there? What makes this thing work? Whatever the toy was, whatever the electronic mechanical thing was that I had, it was like limited, man. I just want to see what's inside. I want to see how it works.
Right. And I think a lot of us were like that. I just didn't know how to put anything back together. Taking it apart is easy.
I wasn't too good at that either. I was good at taking it apart. I would take anything apart, but you figure out how to put it back together if mom raises her voice loud enough.
Eventually,
you get scared sometimes, and
I just hate taking. I just hate taking risks on like expensive stuff. That's why I've been like kind of enjoying when people give me like blown kickers recently, because I can practice taking them apart so that I can put them together. Because you can't just rip it apart. You got to salvage those kicker cones because they don't just make drop-ins for kickers. So I've been getting pretty good at that.
With these amplifiers, man, I was trying to buy up a bunch of stuff, and like get a little collection going, and then it was like, man, I just got this little twitch to go and start repairing. So all of a
Yeah,
sudden,
what made you want to do that? I think it's awesome. You know,
It
you
was
can't
kinda
know
funny.
enough amp repair guys. Come on.
So I bought me on my way to work, Facebook Marketplace, you know, the place where all good and bad happens, and I seen this ad, four amplifiers. It was like $40 or $30 or something like that, $25 or something like that. And the
Yeah.
only amp that stuck out was this Punch 75 HD. I'm like, wait a minute, $40, $30, $20, whatever the number was, it was under 50.
Too
And
good
I'm
to be
like,
true. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, there's a Punch 75 HD in there that wipes away all sins. So
Yeah.
I'm going to get this right now. So is this still available? Yes, it is. Okay, I'm on my way. Are you available right now? Because I got to work. So I'm going to squeeze this in here. And went and picked those up. And then I picked the Punch 75 HD up and had a bazooka with the water cooling jackets in it. Bazooka, I think it was a Bazooka 400 or something like that.
I've always wanted one of those.
It
Yeah.
was so funny. All the amps were fried.
Oh.
All the amps. Well, all the amps were fried except for the Punch 75, which was missing the tabs for the power. No wire harness. No nothing like that. And I
Wow.
was like, well, there's a guy who I talked to in the Fallsgate groups, Christopher, and I was like, you know what? You get into this Fallsgate stuff, maybe you know a repair guy, I'll send it off to you. So I just sent it to him, free of charge, just whatever, you know?
Yeah.
Now it's sitting on my bench. He sent it back to me because I started playing around with it. And that's what, it was almost, that was like the flipping switch, because I know enough about them, and I just didn't have the stuff. I didn't have a rework station. I didn't have an oscilloscope.
Right. It seems like you got it all right behind you there. That's like literally your,
I got it now. I got an oscilloscope, got a rework station, I just flipped it and said, hey, you know.
Wow. Yeah, check that out. That's awesome, man. You got
wrong
everything.
Way, wrong way. There you go. There's the rework station, oscilloscope, all the little add-ons and attachments and stuff like that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I was like, you know, not that I regret giving the dude the amp, not at all, but it was just like, there's a lot of toys out there that just are missing a couple little pieces that, you know, you can bring them back to life. Give them a little bit, give them a couple more years.
Yep,
And
absolutely,
man. The idea, like, I have like 2 amps that are brand new in box. Every other one, I just want them to work. I want to play with them. I don't want, and no guilt. No, I'm not worried about knocking the shine off of something, man. These things are, especially the old Fosgates, the old kickers. Like, some of these amps were just designed like they were workhorses. Regardless,
Yeah.
if you treat them right, you set them right. Most of them did way better than any model number. You know, any model number that they came with. You know, you're not getting a 200 watt amp, son.
No,
you're getting
a little bit
400 watt amp. You're getting no 500 watt amp. You're getting an amp that's putting out over 1,000 watts, and it'll handle that 2 ohms. Not recommended for anybody out there. Just saying, don't bridge it at 2 ohms. 0.5 is not recommended, but those old school amps, man, they were workhorses, and I like bringing them back to life, man. Clean them up, put a little polish on them, put a little shine on them. If they're missing something, clean it up, add a new power terminal, and fire them back up. Put them in the trunk. Put them on.
That's awesome, man. You know, because I know with amps, there's a lot there. There's a lot to them. Obviously, you can just look at them, and it's like, wow, there's a lot of
parts in there.
There's a lot going on in this board, and it's like I know enough, like, the areas and what does what, kind of, but not every single resistor, and gates and all this other stuff, and you got to have certain parts for certain things, or the amp's just not going to work. So it's pretty cool that you know how to repair them. I mean, could you say you could repair? You're learning.
I am learning this.
Right.
I am no professional at all. I have plenty of that I play with, and I just keep going through the motions. Like, I've got a 501 BD that literally I take parts off it and put them back on because I know the amp works.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's learning the motions of like those chips, taking that chip off and being able to put it back on, being able to test, making sure you don't have continuity between those connectors to make sure that you don't have solder bridges, things like that. Just getting that, the comfort of working with it is almost as bad as understanding the circuitry.
Right.
So
right,
it can mess with you a little bit just to get in that comfort zone, you know, understanding the air guns, the heat guns. You're like, it's a cool tool. It really is. So you can it's a fun one to play with, and just getting, like, you take a working amp that you're willing to tear apart and put back together over and over again. Just take pieces off it, take resistors off it, you know, just take a capacitor out, put it back in. Just understanding that you can
pull those pieces apart and put them back
in, and you know that what you're doing is going to work.
Right. Yeah.
And
the most I've ever done was
component to say, oh, I screwed that up. No, you might not have screwed it up. The amp's still screwed up, but
right. There's more down the line.
Amp, you know for a fact.
Yeah.
If it don't fire back up when you're done doing what you just did,
you got a point there.
so
I need to go on my wall and pull an amp that's perfectly fine and destroy it, and hopefully I can fix it.
That's what I did.
Absolutely, that's a good idea.
Mess. It was a ragtag mess. It was a $200 toy that I just play around with. I just take stuff off it and put them back on. Take it off, put them back on, and just get that motion. Just get comfortable with that portion of it.
Right, working around, and
that's a whole book in its own, and understanding.
I was going to say, that's why you need the O-scope and the test, like if it's getting DC rail or whatever.
Man, Sam at Bear Vids. You got Damon, Crazy Logics, 007 on YouTube. Love him because he messes around with some old school Rock for Fosgate. I probably watch all of his old school Rock for Fosgate videos probably 5, 6, 10 times each. There's a couple guys. There's a few guys out there, and I love me some YouTube, man. Anybody call you a YouTube technician? Tell them, yes, I am. Yes, sir.
Yep. And I like Sam's videos. They're a little bit above, my knowledge level, but it's like, that's what you want. You want to be challenged. You want to look at things that you don't know. If you just keep watching the same things you're not going to learn nothing. So,
exactly.
Absolutely, man.
Who said that, man? If you're the smartest one in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
So many people say it, and I totally agree, man. Get me in a different room because I need to ask questions, and I need people who can challenge you, not sit there and adjust everybody's conversation because everything. No, thank you. So yeah, it's fun, man. As far as the amps and stuff go, it's all fun, man. All the car audio stuff. I've got one playing, one build going, and then the kicker stuff back here. Yeah,
that's freaking awesome. I know you guys both have nice.
That's for Larissa's
nice.
car.
Oh, there. My bad, El Fuego. I meant to throw this up here. Check that out. Oh, I keep doing it. There we go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Now, Fuego, what do you got going on here? I see a lot of amps. What are you doing in the future here?
Well, what happened to me is I cleaned out the attic and I found a snowboard that I had from 1997. That's a Burton Supermodel 162 snowboard, and it just happened to have all the flames on it in the center there. And I wanted to marry that up with, so I had two passions, right? Big time into snowboarding, big time into audio back in the 90s. And so I said, well, what am I going to do with this thing? Throw it out? Nobody wanted it. I couldn't give it away. So I just stripped the bindings off the thing, cleaned it up, pulled dust, and said, I think I could make an amp rack out of this thing for my audio room. So
that's awesome.
That's what I'm going to do. And that's the,
that is
on
sweet.
the left is the Orion 250 HCCA, which I'm going to bridge mono, stable at 2 ohms. I'm going to bridge that to the kicker, old school kicker Solivaric S10Cs that I have. So they should see somewhere around 250-ish watts a piece. And then on the right is the Orion 2150SX. So 2x150, and that'll go to the Kicker Marine PMA 8.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. That's so cool.
And then in the middle, I have an old school Orion 200 CRX, which is a crossover, operates off of phantom power. So it's a 5-pin DIN plug. So you go RCA into that thing, 5-pin DIN out to both the amps. So I'm going to bolt all that stuff down, and then I'm going to put shelf brackets above my test bench, and so it's going to be up there, but it'll all be wired and functional, and that
awesome.
sort of thing. So I try to get creative with the piece. Ties two of my passions together.
Right.
In the old days. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's beautiful. I like it. Yeah, and then you said test bench. Now, what are you going to be testing in the future? Because I know Dave's repairing amps. Are you testing amps?
I'm testing. Yeah, I'm fully loaded to test amps. So
testing every amp that he buys.
I think I sent you a picture of my test bench. So this is the test bench that I ripped apart.
Yeah, let me see. Which one did you want me to show? Because that's the surfboard one, full test bench. Got it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I need to go to here, click on it, zoom in. Can I zoom in here?
That looks different. Is that your new place?
No, it's just everything torn apart, getting ready to move.
Okay.
Everything that was there, all this is gone. So in the old test bench, you could see I had the Orion amps mounted on a rack up above. So I'll put my snowboard up there with amps there, and those, had some extra amps. But my old test bench here, I have all the load resistors underneath. If you look above, do you
want me to zoom out on that or something, or am I missing something?
Can you zoom in?
Where do you want me to zoom in at?
Yeah, you're going right for it. See the load resistors mounted inverted underneath the. Right there.
Center pod.
Center
on
pod.
Or on the bench.
Wait, right here.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. So see above, you can see where all the wiring and connections go on top of it.
Oh wow, you got that super clean. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
All the load resistors are mounted inverted underneath. Now you got to be careful. These things get hella hot.
Right.
Super hot. So, but I have all the wiring coming up and connecting in, so I could do just about anything. I picked up a pro tip from Hi-Fi Vega with the power distribution block. So when you're using the AM1, you could just kind of plug those in at the same time rather than having to stab them through the wire. So. And
that's awesome,
dude. The upper right is the instrumentation, so you can see that I've got the DD1, the AM1, I've got the pack model, I've got the old oscilloscope and clamp meter, all that stuff. So, unfortunately, I had to tear it all apart, man. And this was, we're all on some sort of budget, right?
I'm not laughing at you.
You can build back better. It's okay. It's okay.
You save, you buy, you save, you buy. So over the course of 3 years, I finally get this thing right where I want it. And I'm ready to start doing some serious amp dynos. And now I had to tear it all apart. But power supplies, I've got the Power Max 100 amp power supply. I've got a Tech Power 50 amp power supply. And then I've got a buddy of mine is an electrician, and he gave me a 125 amp power supply that came out of a yacht or something like that, where they plug into shore power. So I've got 3 different power supplies, and
nice.
In the new house, I'm going to run, I think, a dedicated 30 amp circuit to the audio room. So if I want to throw some juice at it,
right,
and not have the lights go out,
you'll be good.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I know. I can't wait till we get our own house. We rent, but it's a house. But I can't wait so I can do things like that. more permanent, That's awesome, man. And you're doing it right. And like Adam said, you could try the SPL lab down the road if the testing equipment you have it's going to work. A lot of people do that, but the SPL lab, like how I do it, it is a way to test, and you could definitely try it.
Andy, don't let El
really
Fuego's words go unheard. Permanent is still semi-permanent.
I can't.
Yeah.
Just where you want them. All to
Exactly.
the next.
Exactly. This has been fun. We already did almost an hour. If you guys got any questions for me, or if anybody in the chat has any questions for El Fuego or Dave, drop them below, man. I mean, I'm hanging out. I'm having a good time, but whew, man, I think last week tore me out. 4 hours streaming on my show, and then I think it was an hour and a half on the Rolling Thunder, and then Robert Hi-Fi Vegas show on Sunday, and I worked 4 days this week. Man, I am just, whew, I'm exhausted. Usually I'm not. I'm like, let's just stream all night long.
So Andy, I've got a major problem that I don't have a good solution to. So a couple months ago, I bought the kicker banner, the 3 foot by 6 foot banner. I didn't put it up out here, and now I have no place to put it that I could see right now. Not in the audio room for sure.
Yeah.
So what do you do? I mean, garage somewhere? Or...
You could do it in the garage. I mean, shoot, I don't know your layout of your house. I mean, you could. I know you're like out of wall space.
The wife's not going to have it in the front room. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you got to convince her. I think that's the problem. Not that you have no space on the wall. You got to tell her, listen, this has got to go somewhere.
That garage.
You got a 3-season porch.
Yeah. I think the garage would work, honestly. If I had a nicer garage, I'd probably put some stuff out there. But I'm cutting wood and everything, and man, sawdust doesn't look good on anything other than boxes. Can't
figure out what to do with it.
25. Okay, Andy, you're dropping a hint. Yeah, we're going to keep it to 90 minutes. No.
Wink.
Literally. Nah, it's cool having you guys on, and to hear about your stories of how you got into car audio, and Dave, even your future crazy build, that's going to be awesome, man. That's not going to be something that's just, 212s and an amp and,
No.
whatever. Like you're going all out, and El Fuego, man, you got a crazy build coming with just your home, switching homes and redoing everything you did. It's cool to know, and we'll have to bring you guys back on, and just hear the progress, and see what's going on and see how far you get and what else you run into.
I got 2 car builds coming up too. So my wife's 2019 4Runner, so I bought her a bunch of kicker gear for Christmas. So that's going in all kicker mids and highs, and then I'm repurposing a Rockford Fosgate T1000 X5 AD 5-channel amp, and then she's going to take on my old JL Audio sub.
Nice. Yeah, it's nice to give them a little system, because it's like, you don't want it to be like, oh, well, you're just this annoying loud bass head, at least for me. It's like, here, I can show you what, a nice sounding bass setup sounds like, or, oh, wait, you want more bass? No problem. I literally ran into that. She's like, it doesn't even sound like I got subs in here. It was just a single 10 on like 500 RMS kicker comp. It was clean. You know what I mean? She wanted more bass, and now she's got a 15 with a CX 1800 back there. So, hopefully that's enough.
Yeah.
But us.
My wife's envisioning like I'm going to wall off her Forester, right? And put 415s or something like that. And we went on vacation, and I showed her what the system sounded like in the 4Runner, and she said, "Oh, this sounds really nice." And I said, "Yeah, it's not like you're gonna, I'm gonna pile everything in there and wall it off,
Right. We're going to take baby steps. I know I see everyone in the comments talking about Kip, and I don't like putting people's information out there. I'm not going to do that, but he is okay. Whatever you believe in, if you can, keep him in your prayers and his family. But hopefully everything works out for him. You know, I try not to bug him, but I do talk to him. So he's alive. He's doing okay. Just other things going on. So hopefully he makes a speedy return back to Kicker Unmasked. If he's not back this Tuesday, I'll probably do another Unmasked after show. You know, it's I love those guys. It's just not the same without Kip. We all know that.
No.
If you say it's not, you know, you're lying. So
I need some Kip.
yeah,
Need some Kip in my life.
yeah, and if you guys want to come on, maybe we can do that on Unmasked or something like that, the after show. Just have anybody that wants to come on that, you know, just hang out, you know, so we get, because I think that's cool. You know, we're always all talking in the chat. You know, it's like you could do the person-to-person live stream, which is pretty cool. What we could have never done, 10 years ago. It's crazy, just like anything.
Crazy.
It's awesome,
Definitely
man.
unique.
Absolutely, man. Whenever he's ready, Kip is gonna. Right. You guys will know. I know he's liking my posts on Facebook. Nothing all crazy, but he's okay.
You know, Andy, when I had my accident in the woods over the summer, and I won the ComQ 15, I was in the hospital, and Kip actually reached out and wished me, you know, the best and everything like that. So the guy's got a big heart.
He does. You know,
Kip's probably just fine, and he's just like giving all of Kicker like a pause break. Like, I'm not going to be online. I won't share any information. You won't have to stop me mid conversation. Just let these guys take the show for an extra week, and you don't have to worry about me winking for another week.
yeah. No more winks.
And then
They're
he's
on to
gonna
us.
come back on the next episode and be like, you know, all right, we got 3 giveaways and wink, 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 and oh yeah, this is what's happening out back.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe he just needs a break, you know.
like, I've been away too long.
Yeah.
Gotta make up for it all.
It's tough doing, especially what he does. You know what I mean? He gets paid to do it, but it's something he's always kind of done. If you look at all the old Kicker YouTube videos and stuff, and it's cool that he gets to do that. But to do it every week and that's tough because they do, you know, prep. They do have a plan.
Yeah, they got a plan, man. They got an awesome show. They lay it out. They do it right. And honestly,
Absolutely.
man, that COVID stuff, I just did it. Like 3 weeks ago, I tested positive for COVID, and I've never slept near as much in my entire life. I am waking up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30, like on a Saturday, like
Can't
naturally,
sleep.
no alarms. And when I had COVID, it was like I would go out to the garage, maybe hit a cigarette twice. I'd go back inside, hit play on something that I had on Netflix, and I would pass out for 3-4 hours. All of a sudden, kids are walking through the door, and I slept more than ever. And even after I just got back to it, my body was so exhausted. Like, everything seemed labor intensive. Like, everything I did just felt like, man, this is it. This is it.
I think you hit the nail on the head. You're the nail on the head with it.
It's so exhausting. Like, it just took everything out of me, and I've never felt that. Like, I've been knocked down for a day or two, but 2 weeks, and like, I'm just now coming back around to, like, I haven't messed around with any of these amps. Like, I just literally laid them all out. Like, I really need to get this plan. I'm talking to Damon Wood. I had stuff ordered with him, and I'm like, yeah, I'll get this going. And all of a sudden, I'm on the couch and just done with everything. Like, I don't even know what I got from DigiKey. I don't know what was held from DigiKey. I don't know what's available. I got to go through like all of them again and be like, what all did I need? What all do I have? And what am I able to start putting together and even looking at? It was the worst. Man, I hope he's doing all right. I hope he's recovering good. And man, yeah, he should be on the show. It is definitely a Kip show.
Absolutely.
They're doing a good job without him, but at the same time, Kip is Kip.
I know.
So,
Yeah.
It's crazy. You don't know what you have until it's gone, you know?
Yeah. I got the bug too.
No joke.
Yeah, I got the bug too here about a month ago, and it feels like I'm just now getting back up to
It
speed.
lingers so
It
bad.
takes forever to get back to yourself, like the fever and the coughing and, whatever else, what other symptom you got with it, depending what, it's the energy is gone.
I just had
Like you
energy
said,
loss.
to
Energy
do
loss.
anything. Like, I'm already out of breath going up the stairs because I'm just out of shape and I'm 30 plus, but whenever I had it, it's like, man, I am having a hard time getting up out of my seat, walking to the table to grab something. I'm like, I just want to sit here, but then I don't want to sit here, but I want to sit here because I have no energy, and it's like, I want to do these things, and it's like, you know what? I just don't have the energy to do
Yes,
it.
sir.
It's crazy, man. And, however which way it got here, man-made, whatever it is, it's just terrible that it is here. And I mean, you can die from every disease out there, but it just, the symptoms are terrible. You know what I mean? It just knocks you out. Literally, it's
And that's
it's
pretty
terrible.
much all I got was just a straight up physical body knockdown. Like it was like a soul punch. Like just
Yeah.
boom, and you just hands up in the air like, okay, I give up. You won. I ain't even trying to fight this one. And you just, it just takes all of it from you. And that's all it did to me. Like maybe I might have spiked a fever once or twice,
Yeah.
in the middle of the night. Like I felt uncomfortable and felt like I couldn't sleep. Oddly enough, in the middle of the night, you can't sleep for crap, but during the day, you could just burn away 12 hours like instantly.
Right.
So it was so weird, and I might have spiked the temp once or twice, but other than that, I had no record of it, so I'm gonna go with no, I didn't have one. But
Right.
yeah, it just whooped me. It just whooped me. Just not.
What about a headache, David? Did you have a headache? I had headaches.
I did have. I have always suffered from migraines. So I couldn't really say that I would attribute any headaches that I had to that. And then on top of that, sometimes if you drink a couple too many beers when you shouldn't, maybe that coordinated with the night before. But
Yeah.
I'm not.
We
gonna
won't
blame
blame
that.
it.
I won't blame
No.
Corona on that one. No COVID's getting blamed on any of my headaches, man. I got migraines, and sometimes crappy beer just gets you. But
25 has a question. Anyone in the stream, does the amp clean up the distortion coming from the deck? No, I don't think so. If you play a square wave from your head unit, it's going to play a square wave through the amp to the speaker. A square wave doesn't mean that you're clipping, but a sine wave turns into a square wave whenever you just hit the rail voltage maximum and it just stops. It just stays up. The DC just stays up the entire time, making the wave square. So does it clean the distortion? The only thing I think that would be an amp that has a DSP in it, like a kicker key or something like that. But I feel distortion is going to be distortion. Crap
you
in,
still have
crap out.
distortion, no matter what. Like
Right.
the amplifier just is amplifying the signal. That's it. So if you have
Right.
a distorted signal, you're just amplifying a distorted signal. You're not. I mean, maybe you could make it sound less distorted by taking away some of the bass or taking, whatever adjustments you may have on whatever model amplifier. You might make it less noticeable, but you're just sending a distorted signal.
Absolutely. That was a good question. Yeah. If you guys got any more questions for these guys, about to wrap it up here in a minute. Let's see. I think I threw up a lot of the questions. Everyone's, hanging out, having a good time, and cool. All right. Well, again, thank you guys. Make sure you stick around till after the show's over. I want to talk to you guys afterwards. But thank you everyone for watching, and thank you guys for joining me tonight. We'll definitely do this again, maybe like every 6 weeks to 8 weeks or something like that. We'll bring everybody on. Maybe we'll have more guests next time. So again, thank you everyone for tuning in.
Echo.
Any last words? Any plugs? What do you got? Anything? Throw it up.
No plugs.
No, fantastic.
Oh wait,
Fantastic
I'm gonna
show, Andy.
plug Hi-Fi Wire. I strongly recommend it.
Oh, I know. That's what Will was saying. Both you guys got the Vega stuff on. I need to get a Vega shirt. I have stickers. I got like a couple stickers. I need a shirt. But you know what? I'm not gonna
I
ask a
got- I
darn
got
thing
two
from
boxes,
Vega, man.
I got two
Don't-
boxes full of hi-fi wire that I didn't install in my van because snow hit before. Yeah, I got excuses. No
And you know,
excuses.
Hi-Fi Vega does some custom kits, you know, to
Oh,
order.
I know.
So I'm hitting
Absolutely.
them up for my
Yeah.
new test bench
Yep.
at the new house. I'm going to measure the distances and I'm going to hit him up and you know, ask him.
Hi-Fi worked with me on the kit that I got from him. It wasn't like I
Yeah.
wanted the big three, but it was the 1-aught, and I wanted the amp kit also. 3 RCAs, relay, distro blocks, mainline amp fuse under the hood. Like, he hooked me up. I got a very nice 2 boxes worth of wire that I can't wait to throw in there, and a couple extra labeled hi-fi heat shrinks for the
I like those.
for the trim ends. Yeah,
I
Yeah.
like those.
I bugged him
Absolutely.
about those ones too. I'm waiting for him to block me on Facebook. I'll probably cry a little bit, but
I know. I seen that he has full run kits. I know he had the big 3 kits. Now he has the full amp kits for like your car. I think that's awesome, man. You know, you got to
Yeah.
cover all the bases. And hey, if he wants to do it, he'll make money and enjoy doing it and helping us car audio guys. You know what I mean? And the bass enthusiasts. I think it's awesome what he's doing. I want to grab a big 3 kit for my car. I have welding wire up front with the big 3. I actually have 2 big 3s. But the welding wire is starting to get a little crunchy from the heat. And I like how he has like the heat shrink or the heat cover, you know, like the wrapping stuff. There's a name for it. Over the wire. That stuff. For engine heat. And definitely want to do that just so, you know, it takes power to make power. And support my dude, man. He hooks me up with so much stuff. I cannot thank him enough. I love Vega just like you guys do. And he's that dude, man. He's your boy.
yeah, he's your boy. Hi-Fi. Yeah. He
Absolutely.
worked with me pretty good, man. He worked with me. I got a big old kit from him, man. He was like, I asked him for a price. He was like, ooh. He laughed. He didn't really laugh at me. He was like, oh, it's gonna be up there. And I was like, well, just hit me with it. And then, oh yeah, okay, that's not too bad. Add this. So yeah, he put together a real nice kit for me, man. Remote wire, all that stuff, man. Just full-fledged kit, straight up battery terminals, everything. Like,
Right.
I got a
Right.
full-fledged big 3 amp kit all the way to the back. 3 sets of full-length RCAs. I think they're 17 foot or something like that. 15 foot. No, it's 17. Like, yeah, it's nice. And then a couple. He even threw in some 8 gauge, 6 gauge, I think, or 8 gauge, because it was for the DSMs originally. So from the distro block to the 2 amps, I only asked for a couple short feet, so maybe 2 4-foot runs of 8 gauge. Nice stuff. And yeah, man, he put together a nice kit, and can't wait to install it. I mean, I live in Michigan, so I just woke up to a snowstorm and 4 inches of heavy, wet snow this morning.
Woo! Here
So
I had
was
60-degree weather today. That's crazy. So it's coming, huh? It's coming.
Maybe not. Maybe it's shooting towards Canada.
Yeah, hopefully towards Canada.
Over towards you, but yeah, definitely. Hit up
Absolutely.
Hi-Fi, man. Hit him up.
Absolutely. I'll drop his link in the video after for the guys watching this now and later so they can find his merchandise. So again, thank you guys for joining me tonight. You guys were a blast. You guys did great.
Thanks for inviting.
Hell yeah, man.
Thanks for helping me out with this.
Got you, man. You know, that's my forte, troubleshooting. Audio just goes hand in hand. We'll get that echo out of there. All right, guys. Hey, like I said, stick around after the rollout, and I'm going to talk to you guys. And everyone, have a good one. Stay living loud, and have a good weekend. Stay warm. You know the rest.